And hello and good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. I'm David Boles, and this is Boles TV. BOLES.TV, television. And, I forgot to turn this on. And we are live Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. Eastern. And we are here for your listening and viewing pleasure. Well, it's sort of a nice day on the East Coast. It's about 50 degrees already, and partly sunny skies, with a low in the 30s, and rain tomorrow. Here's Jim with the sports. Well, we had the State of the Union last night with Joe Biden, and he continues to confuse the world and disappoint. I can't think of any other way to chat about it. But is he better than the alternative? Yes. But where does that leave us as people trying to make our way in the world? Trying to live in a society that is totally and completely representative, where the majority rules. And in America, it doesn't really seem that the majority rules very much anymore. And I'll give you an example. We're supposed to have a representative government, right? We have the House of Representatives, which is a mess. And then we have the Senate, which is supposed to be the elite place to go for fairness and representation. But there's a major imbalance. I think I hear myself talking to myself. I think that's myself talking to myself. Well, no, I don't hear it. All right. Who knows? Who knows what the nose knows? So we have this imbalance in politics. And I'll just give you a quick back of the napkin math example. And I did look up some of this information, so I'll read to you what I've discovered. Let's just look at the Senate, the U.S. Senate, where every state gets 2 senators. And we have 100 senators. And the idea is, theoretically, supposed to be you have 1 senator who is Democrat and 1 senator who is Republican. That's how the states are supposed to vote these in, so that all people are represented. Now, not all people are Democrats and not all people are Republicans, but the majority of people are one way or the other. And lately, it's not been that way, especially in the southern states. They're all red, deep red. So my question to you is, just one of basic playground fairness, where you stack one side with 6th graders and you stack the other side with 4th graders, and you don't mix them in, and the 6th graders will always beat up on the 4th graders, no matter what. It's just because at that age, they're 2 years older, smarter, stronger, and wiser. 9-year-olds against 11-year-olds. So if we look at my home state, Nebraska, it used to be sort of liberal and sort of purplish-bluish when I was growing up, and I'm very thankful for that. Bob Kerrey was our governor, and he was a wonderful, interesting person who then tried to run again for the Senate and lost because people said he was a carpetbagger. He'd lived in New York for too long. Wasn't a native Nebraska son anymore, even though we both graduated from the same high school, Lincoln Northeast. Oh, no, he's a carpetbagger. So dumb. So Nebraska is a state with 2 million people. And just as a balance factor, 100,000 are black. That's about 4% of the population in Nebraska is black, all right? I think I am talking to myself in the living room. I forgot to turn on the television. In South Dakota, excuse me, which is just right above Nebraska, we're going straight up, They have a population of 890,000. Okay, I have to go turn down the television because it's making me crazy. We're taking a 10-second intermission. Don't go anywhere. I'm coming right back. And thank you for waiting. That's the fun of being live, right? You go in there and you fix your problems in real time in front of the whole world, which is fine. So Nebraska has 2 million people, 100,000 black, 4%. South Dakota has 890,000 population, 21,000 are black. North Dakota, boom, Nebraska, South Dakota, North Dakota, right? North Dakota, 750,000 people in the entire state. 22,000 are black. And each of those states gets 2 senators. Nebraska 2, South Dakota 2, North Dakota 2. 6 senators for about 4 million people. Now, if we look at California, they have almost 50 million people living in the state of California. 2.2 million blacks. So California gets 2 senators. Now I just ask you, 6th graders against 4th graders, in the era of fairness, where population is not supposed to decide everything, majority rules, is it just constitutionally fair now, today, right now, that states with a population of 4 million people get 6 Senate votes, and they're deep red states, against one state like California, which is typically blue, with 50 million people? That is called terror of the minority, where you have states, especially the Senate, which is more, the House of Representatives doesn't matter. It's a madhouse. They can't do anything without the Senate. And the Senate is supposed to be sort of our backdrop, our backstop against madness and incoherence. And it's become just the opposite. It's become ridiculous. There's no respect. And the State of the Union address that happened yesterday was just absolutely wildly ridiculous, because it's all partisan now, and it's not about the State of the Union. It's about who can stand up fastest and clap the hardest. It's a ridiculous political theater show. So 40 million people have 2 senators, and 4 million people have 6 senators. That seems inherently unfair. It needs to be changed. And the Constitution is not one thing that was set to be that forever. It's supposed to be a living document. It's supposed to be something that can be changed and modified and improved over time. But that's not what's happening. What's happening is people with political agendas and big money want to stay in their seats for as long as possible. Look at Joe Manchin. He's not serving his people. He comes from a very poor and desperate state. And yet he is the king monarch. He is the president of West Virginia. And the rest of us, the rest of the world, suffer. So let's take a look at what's going on, because we've been talking for this about a week, with Ethereum. It's making a comeback. Don't call it a comeback. It was way up earlier this morning, like around 3,000. Now it's dipped just a tiny bit to 29.59. Last week it was 2,300. So if you missed that boat, oh boy, I'm sure you regret it now. My goodness. You could get 1 Ethereum for $2,300. Now you get 1 Ethereum for $3,000. But that's where you got to be in the game to play the game. You got to be on top of it. And a lot of this movement is because of what's going on in Ukraine and Russia. Russia's cut off from a lot of the banks. Ukraine is asking for cryptocurrency donations. And they're all trying to figure it out together. And it's all very confusing. And yesterday and the day before, we were talking about the artist Sabet and his new want, I guess, to be a chakra guruji, where he wants to heal people in his Discord server. And I have great admiration for his talent as an artist. I think he's just wonderful. I own a lot of his pieces. But I don't want him to be my guruji. I don't want him to create what feels a little cultish in these healing codes that he is trying to sell. And he got a big rigmarole over the weekend with crypto mores and gave them a DMCA takedown notice because he said their artwork was like his artwork, and it was a big mess. And then Monday, there was a special offer for healing codes, which is his new artwork. I guess they have to deal with chakras if you're into that kind of thing. And the floor to purchase one as an insider was 0.0888, which I think at the time was like $230, plus about $60 gas. Gas was very high all day Monday. And initially, he was selling his healing codes at a release of about $3,500. Then there was a lot of interest in it, so he made the wrong decision to say, well, let's up it to $4,800 something, $4,805, I think. Now, if you were being clever and you wanted to push these healing codes, you would have offered a whitelist floor price of what it was, but only offer maybe 1,000 of them. Then there would be interest, people would be desperate, they'd be competing with each other, and you'd be sold out and you'd be a success. But this is what has really happened since we last spoke. I mean, there's no other way to say that this is a complete and utter disaster for Sabet's healing codes. Now, people might be turned off, excuse me, because it's a healing code. They don't know what it is. It sounds a little creepy. They might be turned off because the mint started at 3,000 and then he bumped it up to 4,800. So instead of having one of 3,000, you have one of almost 5,000. Or it could be the fight that he picked with the crypto mores over the weekend, because there's kind of crossover between Sabet's CryptoPunks and the mores, and the mores said because of what Sabet did to us, we're never going to buy his stuff again. But it's very clear that 878, after 3 days on the market, public could buy up to 5 yesterday, and the price is the same, 0.8888. So that was supposed to be the whitelist price, and then the next day it was supposed to go up. And it didn't go up. Hey, El Beyonce, hi, nice to see you. And the price did not go up. It stayed the same. So the early buyers are feeling a little bit ripped off because they worked very hard to get in on the floor. And then the floor didn't change. The floor is the same for everybody. And you weren't supposed to be able to buy more than one at this price, 0.0888. And now you can go and you can buy 5 of them at that price. But the other problem is, which is the biggest problem that I have, is that it's a lottery. It's a gamble. I'm very good. I hope you're doing well. And you can get a 1 of 1, which could be worth up to $50,000 because that's how high the Sabet floor goes for a 1 of 1. Or you can get 1 of 50, which is not as special. Now, I did get in on this on the original mint day. I think I have number 78 or 76. And I thought mine was meh. I think there are like 7 or 8 designs, and the one I got I think is just really boring. So I feel for Sabet, But there are some people who say this is all self-inflicted. Now, I agree with his DMCA takedown notice. He had to do it. Even if it was not successful, he had to make the legal attempt to do it to protect his trade and his brand and his name. Now let's take a look at this crazy, strange Russian influence over American culture. It's very interesting because people are saying, well, Russia's been cut out of influencing the rest of the world. Their bots have been cut out of Twitter and Facebook and YouTube. And here's a woman who did some research and actually kind of figured it out. And she said, yesterday, I've seen several tweets getting traction that suggest that certain disinformation-related hashtags regarding COVID, vaccines, Canada, have dropped off since Russia cut off access to Twitter. That's what Russia's saying. We stopped Twitter. Twitter didn't stop us. Okay. But I can't find any evidence that is true, and my own searches found it not to be true. Now, this is where it gets interesting. It also doesn't make logical sense. If Russia is involved in amplifying a hashtag, and that's what they do, it's not just random Russian citizens doing it. It's government-linked operatives. When Russia cut off access to Twitter, that applied to citizens, not the government or intelligence agencies. She goes on to say, these are cursory searches, but they show activity levels on 2 of the disinformation-related hashtags about Canada. Trudeau must go and Trudeau the tyrant. This indicates that activity levels for this week are actually 20% higher than usual. Trudeau must go, Trudeau the tyrant. Okay, very interesting work. So, she goes on to say, much of the activity on disinformation-related hashtags like this is not coming from Russia. That doesn't mean Russia isn't involved in platform manipulation. They obviously are. Absolutely are. But many others are too. Even if Russia dropped off, the artificial amplification would remain. To the extent that certain hashtags related to COVID vaccines or Canada may be dropping off in activity, it's more likely due to the fact that media coverage of these issues in general has dropped off, because everyone's concentrating on the war, not on Canada. You would expect to see a corresponding drop in social media activity. And finally, don't try to interpret disinformation in 2022 through the lens of 2016. That's when all these bots were helping Donald Trump get elected. The Russian bots that elected Donald Trump. The techniques have changed, and Russian disinformation on Twitter doesn't necessarily look like it did 6 years ago. And then she quotes her own quote from December, no longer primarily relying on proxy troll farms to generate large quantities of polarizing content. Russia has turned to military intelligence assets to carry out targeted information operations designed to circumvent platform detection mechanisms. And then she continues, also spammy and disinformation-related hashtags are still trending. Just a few minutes ago, slur of the Union was trending. Not State of the Union, slur of the Union. And then there are people in America who think, oh my gosh, this is a person who hates Joe Biden just as much as I do. What a great American. The problem is, it's not really a person. It's the Russian government tweeting as a bot. And people who don't know fall for it. and amplify it. They retweet it. They take up the hashtag as their own. It looks like another person reached a similar conclusion. I just pulled recent tweets containing both hashtags via Twitter's API, and I do not see a gap in activity for either of them, although both are relatively low in volume. Myocarditis, which is a thing that people think happens with vaccines. And here's another one, COVID-19 vaccine disinformation. How many tweets? So this is all these tweets you think they're just naturally happening, people talking to each other. It's all PR, and it's all there to confuse people and to paralyze a nation and to divide us. That is what Putin wants. That is why he picked Donald Trump to be his secret agent, if you will, in America, to spread FUD, fear, uncertainty, and doubt, and to make it look real and feel real. And that is the unfortunate part of the world in which we live. And did Joe Biden talk about any of that last night? No, it's all propagating and chest thumping and, oh, aren't we the best? Even though there's really no critical analysis if we really still are or not. And on that note, we're going to take our first official blood pressure break. We'll be back momentarily. We are back from break. I'm David Boles. This is Boles.tv, B-O-L-E-S.tv, Monday through Friday, live, 9 a.m. Jenna Marie's here on the weekends, 11 a.m., talking about disability and fun facts and other interesting things, all on American Sign Language. So we've been talking about the State of the Union, unequal representation, the healing code's failure, Russian bots that are still very active. And while they may not be talking about COVID anymore, they're talking about Ukraine now. So here's a very interesting feature that I found yesterday. Someone turned me on to it, as the kids say. I'll put the link in chat. So this is really fascinating. And I found this, two chess streamers from Ukraine were talking about this map. I said, if you really want to know what's going on in Ukraine with this war, go to liveuamap.com. And it's in English, sort of. And you can get in pretty much real time what is happening in Ukraine. And this, what we're looking at, and it's hard to see on this smaller screen, but if you have a bigger screen and you expand it, it's much more devastating. You can see what's going on in Ukraine. So here's one with a little tank. Ukraine military intelligence showing that Belarus is preparing to join Russia in the war against Ukraine. And then you click on the icon, and the page refreshes, and you get on the right side the information that is attached to that icon. Now this is very slow to load because everyone in the world is looking at this map. And it says Ukrainian military intelligence showing local government body in Moscow's district calls on Putin to withdraw troops. Okay. So here's a little ghost icon. According to Pravda intelligence sources, Russia brought, and then we can't read the rest of it. But we'll click on it and see what happens. According to Pravda intelligence sources, Russia brought Yakunovich to Minsk. 5 hours ago, airborne drop and landing from the sea. Ukrainian army successfully responding at the airport. So this is on the right side. After we click on that, that takes us on the left side to the map of where this is happening. So if you ever wanted to watch a war unfold in real time, welcome to the internet. Who needs the metaverse? Who needs Web 3.0 when you have live UA map? We can go in there right now and see what's happening on the ground. You don't have to sort through the lies and wonder what's happening. A bridge is blown up and Ukraine's Air Force, along with the military and defense, destroyed. So I guess the blue, that's interesting, represents Ukraine. And the red icons are Russian action. And what was that game that you play as a kid with the red and blue sides? And you would go to war in the world. It's very interesting. So we can get in deeper and see what's going on. Fighting. Risk is what it was called. That was a great game. I love that game. Hard to play as an only child, though. You had to wait for your cousins or your friends to come along, and no one ever wanted to play because it took forever. It was a world war. Airborne drop and landing from the sea. Ukrainian army successfully responding at airport. And then we jump to the map. So there you go. You have UA maps that will keep you company in a fascinating way. Now, you've heard about the guy who's tracking Elon Musk, where he goes in the world by tracking his jet, and then he posts a Twitter post about it. And Elon said, please stop doing that. And the guy said, look, it's public information. I'm just sharing it. And the guy said, I'll pay you, and Elon said, I'll pay you $5,000 to stop tweeting where I am in the world. And a kid said, I don't want $5,000. I want a $50,000 Tesla. And Elon did not acquiesce or give in, so the kid is continuing. And I believe that this is related to the Elon Musk jet tracker, but this one is for Russian oligarchs who are fleeing and trying to hide their money from Swift banking and the United States. They want to keep all their money because they're the ones who keep Putin in power. So this is what they're doing. They are tracking these super ultra-rich Russian oligarchs as they travel across the world, hiding from the war and hiding from retribution. And it gives you all of their locations in the world, what they're flying, where they are, how they're getting there. And to me, this is freedom. This is what justice is about. Why let them run and hide and keep all of their money while the Ukraine suffers? And while innocent Russian citizens suffer. And the Ukrainians say they capture these Russian soldiers and their little kids, young kids, and they let them call their mothers back home in Russia. And their mothers are shocked. She said, what do you mean you've been captured in Ukraine? What are you doing in Ukraine? And this is what the Twitter account shows you. What kind of airplane it is, where it's going, where it's been, how it's flying, how long it's been on the ground, what signal it's using. It's beautiful. And this is public information that anyone in the world can go look at, share, exchange. And you know the rich people don't like it because they don't want you to know what they're doing. But here we go. And here are the details on Abramovich's jet. It's an LX Ray, 299 gallons. How much jet fuel is used. Cost of fuel was $1,500. And 3 tons of CO2 emissions. And here's another jet. Oh, I just love it. I love it. No place to hide. They think they're hiding in plain sight. And I've heard that some of these Russian oligarchs have all their money. And they have private yachts. And they're like in the middle of nowhere. Like international waters. And they're in waters that belong to nations that are not friendly to the United States and don't have extradition agreements with the Eastern Union or the United States or the European Union, so they can just sit there on their yacht and eat caviar and smoke cigars all day. And here they are tracking it over the ocean. Oh, it's just beautiful. It's exactly what this war needs. Divide and conquer, right? Don't let Russia take the war to you. You take the war to Russia. Now, this is also dismaying and sort of another security issue. This was posted the other day. The top 20 passwords found on the dark web. Meaning that these are the top passwords that people use to protect their banks and their computers and their laptops. Meaning they're super easy to guess. Number 1 is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Number 2 is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. QWERTY password is the password. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I had a friend of mine who worked in tech. And there was a guy who was fired from the company. And they all had to have hard passwords. This was 20 years ago, before you had to have symbols and up and down characters. You could just type in something and it would be your password. And my friend Kurt was trying to figure out, what is this guy's password? We need to get into his computer because he left in a huff. He has all the vital information. He will not give us the password to his computer. So, and this was when you could just, brute force try to keep guessing passwords so it wouldn't time you out or lock it or erase it. And he thought about the guy, and Kurt was a manager, dealt a lot with people, a very good people person. And he said, what is his personality like? Who is he? what would he think would be a clever password that no one would guess? And he tried the wife's name, the daughter's name, birth date. He said, no, those aren't working. And then it occurred to him, oh, I think the heat just turned on. I have the windows open, and I think the heater doesn't like. So if you hear a buzzing, that's what it is. I forgot to turn the heat down. So Kurt sat down and figured it out and thought about this guy and his personality. He said, I know what it is. And he typed it in, unlocked. And everyone in the room cheered because the whole company was standing behind Kurt trying to figure out what this password could be. And the password was, all one word, I am God. I am God. Now that would make you think, right? What kind of person would do that? What kind of person needs to call themselves God? To fake out a computer password. Well, I'm putting this on this for just a moment so I can go turn off the heat. I'll leave the microphone on. I'll be back in 10 seconds. Okay. Oh. It'll turn off in a moment. Such a terrible sound. I'm about 6 feet away from the refrigerator as well, but that seems to be a little bit quieter. So don't choose I am God as your password, or Kurt will guess it. So how do you create an interesting password? Some people use combinations of words. Some people type sentences, and that's probably the most interesting way you could do it, is to have a sentence and type a sentence. Now, instead of typing in I am God, you might use the first letter of that sentence. I am I-A-G, I am God, I-A-G, and then some kind of number sequence that's completely unique. Now, that would be a hard password to guess. Or some people might have a whole sentence. I live my life to enjoy it. I-L-M-L-T-I. And then a couple of numbers. And some people would just type the whole sentence. I live my life to enjoy it. Exclamation point, 78. Excellent password. Very, very hard to guess. Or you could use a password manager. Mac and Windows both have it, where you can try to figure out what the password would be. You know what I did? I think I turned the heat down, so it would be much, much cooler. Now let me think, what did I do? Did I turn it up or did I do it? If I turn it up, no, I want it down, right? Yeah, it's not turning off yet. Technology. Machines can and will do the work. If you let them, don't let them do the work. Well, we like talking about NFTs and passwords. Now here's something that, I don't know. I like NFT art, but sometimes you just see a new project and you think, why? What is the purpose of this? You're both successful and you're interesting people. Now the heat's off. You're interesting people. Why are you wasting your time on this? This is CHFTY, which I believe is pronounced Shefty or Shifty. But when you find out who and what it is, it's Shefty. And they have a Twitter, and they have a Discord server. Weird. Okay. Bridging the gap between food and beverage community and Web3. Introducing Shifty Pieces. Shifty Pieces. A collection of the tastiest NFTs baking on the Ethereum blockchain. All right, it's already too cute by half. Nobody's interested in being cute about pizza. Now here's where it gets interesting. Led by two culinary experts who are diving headfirst into the metaverse, Tom Colicchio and Spike Mendelsohn invite you to grab a virtual slice and build a community that is focused on connecting holders with their favorite chefs and foods. So Tom Colicchio owns a lot of restaurants in New York City. He's also a judge on, was it Top Chef? Oh, there's Dora. How many cats, dogs, skulls do you need? It's just getting ridiculous. Apes, right? Yeah, they are aping the Bored Apes. And I don't understand how the apes even became interesting. I don't understand how the CryptoPunks became interesting, but I guess they're interesting because they were the first to do NFTs 10 years ago. So Tom Colicchio, who's a serious kind of guy, is obviously making a punny play. And here they are. This is what they look like. A slice of pizza as a person. Now, these might be better than the Invisible Friends. Have you seen the Invisible Friends? Let me see if I can find the Invisible Friends. The Invisible Friends are even more ridiculous. The Invisible Friends NFT. And somebody bought a golden Invisible Friend, all gold, for charity. Okay. $1.3 million, I believe, was the final bid. All sold out, also. These are the Invisible Friends. So you're buying clothes. You're buying an outfit. Not a facial expression, not a nose, not a mouth, not ears. 5,000 of 5,000 minted. You can shop it on OpenSea. Oh my goodness, it just makes you wonder. And why would you want an invisible friend? I like my friends to be visible so I can see them. Even if they're virtual friends, I like to see where they are and what they have to say if they're typing in text. Or just, there they are, the invisible friends. I didn't know they were animated. That's sort of new. And that's them, the invisible friends. And you can see they're selling for $12,000, $15,000. And people say the economy's not booming? The economy is booming. Invisible friends, including an invisible dog. The invisible dog is selling for what, $15,000? Oh. Now here's the question. Would you rather have an invisible friend or would you rather have a piece of pizza? Because that's what the world's coming to. Why? They're going to give back. It's always about giving back, right? You have to buy in for them to give back. The roadmap, the phase, build the greatest chef community. That's like the Bored Ape Yacht Club. Exclusive access to community of verified chefy pizza holders. Introduce professional chefs to Web 3.0 by welcoming them. Oh. They're getting ready to go out of the oven. Whew. Meet the team. Tom Colicchio is so embarrassed. He won't even use his real face. He'll use his Simpsons face, which I find absolutely hilarious. And there's Spike. And I think Spike's very talented. And he does vegan work. He's really terrific. Dora asks, did you see my Queen NFT Trinity that I painted for a goof? It was also an accident. I have not seen that, no. I'll have to look for that. Shefty, all rights reserved. Oh boy. Who would want to infringe on that right is my only question. And here's the official Shefty site. Oh, the pizza man. Not even an NFT. That's the first sign that they don't know what they're doing when their profile on Twitter is not the NFT. Spike Mendelsohn says, hey! Good morning! That's another thing I've learned, especially on these Discord servers. It's posting a GM. Everybody posts a GM every day, all day. And I think, why? Why can't you just say good hello? Or Why bother typing GM? There's one person online who makes a GM graphic every day and uploads it so people can say good morning. I don't get it. And I know the Discord people don't get it either because a lot of them are old and out of it like me, and so they just have a whole section called GM. And when people post in the regular section, the general chat section, they should please go to the GM section if you're going to say good morning to people. It's insane. Good morning. I'm thrilled to introduce Cosmic Carrot Chews, our new kid snack with a full serving of organic carrots in every pouch. It's time to choose a better snack. Learn more about it at Eat the Change. Okay, I like that. I support that. I even think it's kind of cute. Time to choose a better snack. That's cute. So, here we go. We clearly know how this slice feels about pineapple on pizza. Debate. I don't know where these ideas come from. And if you're a chef, are you really... The real chefs that I know are not that interested in pizza. But I guess you need something for the kids. That's who they're trying to rope in with all of this, is to get the kids going. Doris says, good morning. When I'm running out of tweet space, I hate adding to a tweet. Yeah. There are people who go on the Discord and all they do is say good morning. I guess they want a good morning back, which is fine. I'm just not sure I understand it. We like talking about the uncanny valley and the disturbing valley, and a fascinating robot lecture on aspects of the self. We talked about this earlier, and this is kind of the follow-up review. It's the vulnerability of the robot that strikes you in this subtle, intelligent production from the German theater group, Rimini Protocol. Rimini Protocol. From Fritz Lang's Metropolis to Roy Batty and Blade Runner, there's no shortage of automatons providing their different takes on the human condition. That's what we talk about here. Yet few exude the sheer existential exhaustion of the narrator of Uncanny Valley. Now, this is usually why I screenshot these, because it makes the text bigger. And this text is very small to read, but I'll do my best. The German author agreed to have his animatronic double created for this show as part of an investigation of the elusive sense of self for someone who, like him, suffers from bipolar disorder. In the script, which he has co-written, he juxtaposes two biographies, his and Alan Turing's. What ensues is an elegant examination of what is artificial and programmed and can be just as part of what it is to be human as what is supposed to be authentic. It's not a new argument, but one that's deftly executed, not at least for managing, and not to mention Frankenstein. Now, I like all of this, because this is where we learn to think about things and accept things, and that's all via the life stage. What is real, what is unreal? We don't break the fourth wall. We try to understand what people are saying. It's not as threatening. And new ideas come out of the theater and then make their way into mainstream life. So this is, I guess, a picture of the automaton with ideas and thoughts as plugins into the world. The show resonates in part because it is clearly no dry intellectual exercise. In contrast with his own challenges of living with bipolar disorder, the robot, he declares, embodies something stable about who he is. Throughout, there's a sense of him trying to pin down his identity by stepping outside of his body. When he first sees the model of his head, created by embalming him in a silicone cast, he describes it as looking like Roman sculpture. It historizes something of me. With the publication of his first book, I had extracted something within to be able to look at it from without. interesting stuff, I'll go for it. I like to see automatons on stage, and if we have empathy and sympathy for them, maybe they will one day have empathy and sympathy for us, but never in a chess game, and likely never from Alpha Zero. And now we're going to take a brief blood pressure break. Back in a moment. And we are back on Boles.tv, BOLES.tv. Video on demand on Boles.tv, and also on YouTube. You can get there by going to BOLES.live. Boles Live. Then we're here with you every Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. Now, there's a guy named Phil Maffetone who is very interesting, very curious, some think a little odd and a little strange. He's heavy into the physical fitness community, and he knows a lot about a lot of things. And he likes to be controversial. He likes to say things that other people don't want to hear. And yesterday I received an email from him with a link to his latest sort of blog post on his website, which I will share with you now because I find it curiously confounding. This is written by Phil, and as you can see, it was written a little while ago, but he just got around to sharing it. Research perspective, rethinking COVID-19. It's not a pandemic? I added the exclamation point because he's making a statement. He's not saying it's a pandemic. What are you talking about, Phil? Well, here we go. With many unanswered questions about what went wrong, scientists and clinicians are rethinking more than COVID-19. It's a wake-up call to those in public health and healthcare, along with politicians and citizens. COVID-19 is not a pandemic, but rather a syndemic. A pandemic synergistically fueled by pre-existing health conditions. Now, is syndemic actually a word? It appears so. Syndemic theory focuses on the adverse interactions between disease and social conditions, especially drawing attention to the mechanisms of these interactions. Identification of syndemic interactions allows for a new way of understanding the previous treatment of those involved. Okay. As a predictable, and preventive disaster, COVID-19 was not averted by proactive measures. Instead, the world waited, then implemented various reactive responses to address the pandemic with devastating effects. Now, that is correct, and that makes sense so far, to me. More unfortunate is that proactive measures continue to be neglected. The new scientific paper in Frontiers in Public Health, Rethinking the COVID-19 and Beyond Prevention, Remedies, and Recovery by researchers Phil Maffetone and Paul Larson emphasizes such forward-thinking issues as immediately planning a proactive approach to prevent the causes of such a disaster so we don't repeat it in the future. Reactive care is described as screening for disease, post-disease treatment, and little to no lifestyle implementation. Proactive care refers to reducing disease risk, pre-disease preventative intervention, and a strong emphasis on healthy lifestyle to support natural immunity. The problem is not new. Modern medicine tends to wait for disease to strike, then address it with the expensive measures that don't address the cause. By considering the big picture view of COVID-19 as a syndemic, we see that susceptibility to disease would not occur or would become less serious if the vulnerabilities to infections and spreading of disease were reduced by proactive measures. In the case of COVID-19, it is primarily fueled by the over-fat pandemic and its downstream conditions, including impaired immunity, malnutrition, inflammation, and comorbidities, such as cardiovascular disease, cancer, diabetes, and other chronic illnesses. Over-fat is defined as excess body fat that impairs health and includes those who are overweight, obese, and about 40% of the population who are normal weight, but who have excess belly fat. The decades-long diet-induced over-fat pandemic has been enabled and even encouraged by government and public health agencies, not unlike Big Tobacco's damaging reign. Junk food is the new tobacco. Now, I thought sitting was the new tobacco. Maybe everything's the new tobacco. But I'm not making fun of Phil's point because I take it, and it's very insightful. The researchers say it's time to plan for the next infectious pandemic by taking proactive measures and addressing the causes of reduced resistance to disease, rather than waiting for another disaster. Read the full paper, click here. I already clicked. Here it is. Phil's paper on fatness. Rethinking COVID-19 and Beyond by Phil and Paul. So there's the whole article if you want to take a look at it. And he's right about, and this is what Phil's thing is he says we've got to get you underweight and we've got to get you healthy and we have to get you cardiovascularly successful. And yes, he sells some supplements and that kind of thing. That's what he does, but he also does very good research. So you just can't dismiss him as some guy who's, part of his own MLM, because it's not really what's going on, although it is sort of. And I do like that term, overfat. Because you can be very skinny and have a big fat bulge on your belly that is not good for your organs. To have that kind of fat sitting on your stomach and your liver and your kidneys are there and it's all just creeping around you. And it's hard to get rid of. You try to get rid of it, you won't get rid of it. You got to exercise and you got to eat less. So we've been to Phil's site. Let's go to Paul's site. HIT Science, High Intensity Interval Training, courses for coaches and scientists. Okay, so this is another follow me baby thing. But that's okay. Speaking of following me, who doesn't love a cat? We love cats here. We have a lot of ugly kitties from Sabette's NFT collection. Cats work like this. This is a new book. And this is one of the great things about the new paradigm of publishing is you get an inquiry from a publisher saying, hey, we have a new book. Does it interest you? Yes or no? Do you like me? Yes or no? Do you want to go on a date? Yes or no? Do you want a digital copy? Or do you want a hardcover copy? Yes or no? Now, I've always in the past preferred a hard copy when I'm reviewing books because I like to write in them and take notes. But ever since I started this live stream, reviewing a hard copy book is very difficult. As you know with my review of Mouse, I have to hold things up, I have to turn the pages, I have to hold it up to the camera, big buh. But this, now this is fun. This is a new book, excuse me, called Cats Work Like This. And they sent me a digital copy yesterday. Otherwise it would have taken, I'm sure, 2 weeks to get a physical copy of the book. So why not have a virtual copy of the book that we can look at together? And I looked at it yesterday. It's a very cute book. There's only one thing. I don't like how they laid it out. See? A single view is 2 pages, right? So it's very hard to see what's going on. So I'm going to have to blow this up as we look at a couple of pages because it's too far away. So the contents, introduction, cats work like this, introduction to Mr. Punk, knowing the territory, grooming, where a cat sits, where cats go, what they do at night, breeding, hunting, food, sounds, cats with jobs. There's actually a Reddit group called Cats That Work. And it's very cute. Cats with jobs running a sewing machine, cats patrolling the bathrooms, cats helping make pizza dough. It's funny. Cats in charge, cat toys, fighting and military strategy, what your cat really thinks of you. Your cat is your friend, the scientific cat, our ways with the cats. So you have an introduction, cats work like this, a lot of talking, and then we start to get into the cats. Now this is where it gets fun. Now I have to make this bigger, and then we have to sort of scroll back and forth, which is slightly problematic. So there's a beautiful Siamese cat. Stories about cats. The beauty pose. Oh, you caught me cleaning myself. I'm so embarrassed. Introducing Mr. Punk. Now it's not Mr. Punk, is it? It's Punk. I don't know what it means, but I guess we're going to find out. That must be... Oh, there's Mr. Punk. Oh, it's a black and white kitty. Some call them tuxedo kitties. Some call them bicolor kitties. Beautiful. Not a void. Having just transcribed my father's writing above, I'm being stared at by Mr. Punk. Cats look at you, eyes half open or glazed over, or sometimes in a relaxed and loving way. Yeah, right. Other times good-naturedly laughing or blinking at you, or, as is the case now, with a very clear I'm telling you something stare. This is more than watching over me. You will know that loving cat look. Perhaps with an upwards tail, but this is not it, nor is it the serious stare, which can be about control or even bordering on anger. If I were a cat, this stare is a challenge, but it's none of the above. So what is he telling me? Well, we'll leave that to you to check out later when you purchase the book. Oh, more punk. The photographs in the book are really quite engaging. And I like the layout. I just don't like the layout of the PDF. It makes it hard to share. If it were just page after page, it would be so much easier to share with you today. Punk on a tree stump, knowing the territory. Sounds slightly scary. Let's see which cat we're talking about. Oh, no name. I guess we're done with Mr. Punk. For a predator with a strong fight and flight aptitude, knowing their territory is essential. This applies to all things physical and what's going on in your house and your other resident's house. More beauty shots of cats in action. Cats defending their territory. Because that's what they try to do, and not always successfully. I had a cat who always tried to defend his territory and didn't do very well, because it was a great, big, massive, orange, giant cat that ruled our neighborhood and beat up on any cat who tried to challenge him. Grooming. A wonderful topic. Where a cat sits. Oh boy. A cat sits where it fits. Right? You have a cat, you know what that means. There you go. You're going to sit where you want to. Deciding where to sit as a cat isn't easy, as it probably is for you and me. A cat weighs up the conflicting needs of warmth, comfort, security, the ability to be near you and or smell you, and being somewhere they can watch for intruders and prey. If it's somewhere close to things to investigate and play with, so much the better. Cats can sit for a very long time, sometimes awake, and appreciate the ability to gently switch in and out of sleep. So location matters most of all. And if you've ever had a cat, you know it's true. And a cat loves a box. I recognize that Kleenex box. I've had many of them in my life. I do neti pots, you know. And one of the fallout factors of a neti pot is lots and lots of used tissues. And there's the cat hiding in the closet. That looks like a Scottish fold to me. Absolutely gorgeous, you know, by the ears and by the playful expression. Oh, I love those big ears. That looks lynxy to me. But what do I know? Oh, a cat playing in the wheelbarrow. That's one thing I miss is my childhood, my wheelbarrow rides from my grandfather in North Loop, Nebraska. They weren't very long rides because my grandfather was very old and probably, as Dr. Phil Maffetone would say, overfat. Where cats go and what happens at night. Cats go to the same place indoors and outdoors. So if yours goes missing, she may not be hard to find. You will know your cat's character. If she is shy and centered around home and safety, she'll probably be close. And if she is not in any of her normal places, she is probably in the nearest safe place to home. However, if she is big exploring, gregarious type who likes humans, you're going to need to cast your net far and wide, but in the directions you know she's been before. If you have more than one cat, it's important that you understand all your cats, not just the indoor ones, although all cats should be indoor cats. You need to know where they go and when they leave your lap, not just because that will help find them should they go missing and want to be found, but knowing what they will do at the very least means you won't get strange people coming around and claiming your cat as their own. Now that would be awful. Cats are friends. Breeding, that can always be a touchy subject. Hunting, Food. While hunting, it is not always about food. Getting fed becomes a very serious matter at home. Most cats will quickly train their owners, or more accurately, the staff. The hired help is probably more appropriate, as to what kind of things to feed them and when. The rules are uncomplicated. The cat can change the feeding places and the time and the demand for food. For example, your own dinner plate. But you cannot vary the time and regular feeding places. For humans, food is often tied to family and social activities. For cats, no. A cat will share its plate with another feline, maybe sometimes with another small creature, but that's not you. Cats like to eat a lot of small, delicate meals, regularly gazing like some people believe humans should. But while it may be fine for you to skip a meal or eat lunch much later than normal, for the cat, not acceptable. Meal times are the clock of life and must be kept to whether your cat was fed properly or not just an hour ago. It's the ritual and pattern that's important. A cat's body clock is a precision instrument. If she is normally fed at 6 p.m., you will be reminded of this by 5:45 p.m. Absolutely true. And this is just a wonderful. I spent all yesterday afternoon just reading this and loving it. Cats with jobs, cat toys, cat managers fighting and military-style strategies. Your cat is your friend. Yeah, right. Not possible. They're too selfish. But we do play along with the idea. Oh, and they play along with the idea that they will tolerate us. But I would never take a cat outside. And that's just not because I live in the urban core of the New York City corridor. Everything in the world outside is more dangerous to a cat than a cat is dangerous to it. They cannot survive. They don't do well outside. But this is a wonderful book. Cats work like this. Go out and get yourself a copy as soon as you can. And then, as in now, we will be back in a moment. And we are back on Boles.tv, BOLES.tv, BOLES.live, Boles.live for YouTube video on demand. And there you get maybe a little bit of advertising, and you won't get access to our chats, but it's free for the video on demand. If you want access on Twitch, you need to subscribe, so you'll go ad-free, and you can watch our video on demand natively, and you'll get the chat transcript as well. Well, this week we've been back to playing our wonderful game of chess, and it's time once again to play that time of day. Not Bobby Fischer chess with your friend and mine, Ringo Starr. And yes, we are quite tolerable at this, and we've had a terrible few days, but we're getting better, and we're not ever going to give up. So we go to our friends at Chessable. We're still in the middle of trying to break down the defenses of the other side. And yesterday was just a terrible historic day, where I think my highest rating was 66%. And these were 3 and 4 move puzzles. Terrible. Wish I had my sound effects so I could do some booing. Booing of myself. And these are harder. I like the chess.com daily puzzle because I can take as much time with it as I need. And sometimes I need a lot of time because I have to try to do a lot of thinking. With these Chessable puzzles, the second I click on solve, the clock starts ticking. And if I don't make a move within 30 seconds or whatever it is, a minute, then I get punished and I don't get 100%. Now, I like puzzles that I can solve in 2 moves. Or 3 moves. Now, lately, it's been 4 and 5. Here we go. White to play. That's me. White. Okay. Is the thermometer's ticking down? White. Okay, what do I got to do? What do I got to... Where's the king? There's the king that I'm going after. They always like a queen sacrifice. They really, really like you to give up your queen. It must be some kind of thing where nobody wants to lose a queen, and I understand why. I don't want to lose my queen, ever. But my queen, if I move her there, would put the king in check and move the bishop there. Now, do I do that, or do I just have the bishop take the rook all the way? But then this bishop would take my bishop. I think it's safer to put the queen over. I'm going to try it because I'm running out of time and I can't think any longer. That was the right move. Oh my God. Now, I wish the puzzle were over because I would have 100%. But the puzzle is continuing and I'm talking and I've lost half my time already. Now I have to figure out where to go next. Well, we have sort of a triple play going here where I could move my beautiful queen. Whoa, don't move her there. My beautiful queen here and put the king in check. But then that pawn would take. I could move my rook there. Well, now I've completely confused myself. I could go right there, but the king check, that takes. No, that doesn't work either. I don't like it. We'll just go to queen. Wrong move. Okay, so it should have been a rook move instead of a queen move. And then the queen protects the rook. And the bishop protects the queen. Oh, no! I had the right move, but it's out of order. So they want the bishop first. Okay. Why? Now where do I go? I guess I go here. No, no, that doesn't work because then the bishop takes my queen if I move my queen here. Oh, this is not good. I mean, I know I have this protecting that, but that doesn't protect me from... Okay, so I think it's the bishop move. It's this. Go the other way, young man. Yeah. We'll try that. It's not the right move. Pawn move. here to here. Puts the king in check. And then the king can't go anywhere. Because the king goes here, check. King goes here, check. King goes here, check. King goes here, check. King goes here. So it's mate. Moving 4. One more time. I gotta do better now. Okay, here we go. All right, white to play. Where's the king? There's the king. Where's my queen? They love a queen sacrifice. There's my queen. Mm-hmm. Okay. Could go here. And that puts the king in check, which I sort of like. And then they take. And then I take. It could be interesting. I'm running out of time, or I'd think it through better. Nope. It's a rook move. Now they force me to make the right move. And then that takes that. And now what? Queen here, protected by the knight. That's not the right move either. Oh boy. I've lost my touch. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So I'm trying to think, does the queen take the queen? And then the king steps forward. And then this goes there. Check. I don't know. I have to make a move. Nope. 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 Move the queen, put the king in check. I gotta make another move. Okay, and this one's easy. This one goes here. All the way here to sit. Protected by the knight. Oh, I wish I'd done better. 25% accuracy. Terrible. Just terrible. Well, the next one's 5 moves. I'm not doing that. Chess of the day. Daily puzzle. Rook lifting your spirits. I always like a good rook lift. That means where you move a rook like this and like this. You're lifting over. Lifting over, over. Sometimes you line them up so they're lifting each other. Okay, white to move. And we know a rook lift is involved, which is very interesting as a clue. So that means one of these rooks has to move forward somehow, and then somewhere out there, maybe here, and then here, and then this bishop protects the rook in some way, but I don't think that's it. Because then there are 2 attackers here. And if I go all the way down, then this just takes. Oh, this is a hard puzzle. And it's only Wednesday. These are supposed to start easy and get harder as you go into the weekend. Not on a Wednesday. This should not be a puzzle for a Wednesday. I could go here and over. But then the king takes. Not that interesting. And then I could go over and over. Not interesting, really. So I think I have to move this rook because this bishop is going to take that rook. So I know I have to move this rook, but where? I'll go here. No! I'll go here. No! I'll go here. Okay. 3 times, I'll take a hint. It's a bishop move. Bishop takes the knight. Isn't that interesting? Isn't that? And then this rook has to take this rook because my king is in check. Uh-oh. And that bishop took my bishop. And then he said, now what? That's not the end of the puzzle. So do I go all the way down here? And put the king in check? Yes, but then the king just moves here. Sometimes these puzzles don't end in a checkmate. But this one's not over. Now what do I do? I can't go here because the king will just take. This is getting a little scary because the puzzle's not over. I'm over, but the puzzle's not over. I'm up a pawn. But there are 2 bishops against a rook. Now I'm thinking of moving this way. And then I trap one of the bishops. Because of either one of the moves, I take it. I sort of like that. But will the puzzle like it? No. But I'll try it anyway. Hey! Hey! And then I just grab this bishop. And then what? I don't know. But I know I take the bishop because I trapped it. And that's the end of the puzzle. Well, how is that possible? Nothing happened. Right? Nobody's in check. This happened yesterday. Not a lot of interesting lifting of rooks going on. I thought we were going to create the gun and line them up and take out everybody. I don't know why this is winning the puzzle. I don't know why this is winning the puzzle. I'm happy I won the puzzle, but I don't really understand the theory behind it. I guess because this pawn can just move. And these pawns all protect against the advancement of these pawns. And now he only has 1 bishop and I have a rook. I guess. And then I promote this pawn all the way down to get a queen. I don't know. Who knows? That's the chess for you. Doesn't make a lot of sense. You just keep trying every day and try to get a little bit better and a little bit stronger. And sometimes you win and sometimes you don't. And sometimes you just keep failing. And that's the fun of it. Well, we had a wonderful show today. All kinds of interesting topics. Talked about NFTs, talked about the state of the union, the state of disunion. We talked about cats who work. We talked about the unfortunate healing codes minting that was supposed to be, but really wasn't. But lots of interesting reasons as to why. If you have any questions for me, comments, I invite you to write to me, david@boles.tv. You can find Jana Marie in email, jana@boles.tv, on Twitter @DavidBoles, super follow soon to come. On Facebook, we're regular old BOLES Boles. Instagram, Boles Books. TikTok, Boles TV. And here's our Discord server if you want to stop by and say hi or hang out or be friends. We're always happy to find new and interesting topics to discuss right here on this live stream. So I hope you be in touch. I hope you have a wonderful rest of the day, a great evening, a wonderful morning, and if you have a little nap, that's good for you. Don't go longer than 20 minutes, though, because then you're going into deeper sleep and you're going to wake up groggy. But 20 minutes, 10 minutes, perfect time for a nap. So until tomorrow at 9 a.m. Eastern, I wish you a great day and that you find joy and happiness in the soul of your human condition. I'll see you tomorrow.